Because if you share chemistry with someone, you can eventually want to like what they like, I guess. I don't think that's even healthy.
You seem like a nice person,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not for you. You need to get out. We've seen what they've done with other people. Get out now. Everybody wants to tell you how to have a relationship, but I found that people don't know why they were failing. I'm married. It'll be 53 years in July. I have an awesome wife who was very intelligent, very strong, and she will submit to me, and I will do the same for her. I still date my wife. I still buy her things that I think that she might like.
So what are some red flags people dating should look out for and should cut off immediately?
The biggest red flag is not allowing to be flexible. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't believe in that. No, I would not ever do that. That's a red flag.
What's the secret? Let me put it that. What's the secret to a long-lasting relationship like this? Because you're still happily married after 53 years. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. On today's episode, I have another fantastic, amazing guest for you. Dr. LaGrande Mason is here with us. Welcome, Dr. Mason.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Zuki.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. So a brief intro on Dr. LaGrande Mason is a psychologist, a life and relationship expert. He is the author of the award-winning book, The 5 Pitfalls of a Relationship, What They Haven't Told You, Why Your Love Life Stinks. Yes, that's the book he's holding up there. So yes, we're going to go right into it. Dr. Mason is going to be sharing with us all the wonderful tips we need to know about our relationships, how to make it work, how to make it better, but we'll start with meeting Dr. Mason. Dr. Mason, please can you tell us about yourself, your background, all of that?
Well, again, thank you, Zuki, for having me on. As you mentioned, I am a psychologist, life and relationship coach. I've been doing this since 1995. My degree is in psychology, of course. I'm also certified in marriage and family counseling, as well as some other mental health disciplines like integrative mental health, stress management, things of that nature. So I do have an extensive background when it comes to people, behavior, mental health, and I'm also a man of faith. So I have a spiritual background as well. I'm not a minister, but a lot of the things that I have been involved with have been for churches as well as colleges and schools and businesses when it comes to setting standards or providing standards for healthy living mentally and emotionally. I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm a second generation, as we call ourselves, Angelino. That means my mom and dad were born in Los Angeles. There's not very many people you will meet where both parents are born here in Los Angeles. I'm in private practice. I also do other work consulting. I've done consultant work for the Department of Health and Human Services with the Administration for Children and Families. I was along with my wife, we were part of the Healthy Marriage Program back in the from 2003, 2013. And that was a huge program that gave an opportunity to teach healthy standards in family, marriage, relationship, and parenting.
Wow. Sorry, go ahead.
My book, I'm happy to say I'm still chasing that bestseller, but I've been fortunate or blessed, you should say. It's 5 stars on Amazon. I received last year I'm trying to say because there's a few of them, the Los Angeles Times Book Festival, which is the largest in the United States. I got an honorable mention for non-fiction book with that. And since then, I've also received awards from the New York, the New England, and just recently I received also an award from the London Book Festival. So I'm really happy to say I have an award-winning book.
Yes, award-winning. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No easy feats. It's not easy feat to attain. Yeah, so that's good. Great. So,
Thank
Dr. Mason, what led you in this line of work? I know you said you're also a psychologist. So, did you start out being a psychologist and then picked interest in relationship, or did you draw any lessons from your own life? Was there anything that drew you particularly to relationships?
I'm glad you asked that because as a psychologist, one of the things that we do or should do, and most of the successful clinicians do, is listen. And starting off as a young kid, even adults would come up to me and just start spilling their guts, telling their business. And being an only child, my mom and dad taught me just listen, sit there and don't say a word. And that became one of my strengths. And when I realized, because at one time there was two things I was going to pursue coming out of high school, that was music and law enforcement. But I found out I could take psychology into law enforcement, and that led me to take that as my degrees in college. I wanted to do forensic psychology with the FBI, and there was a pathway that almost got me there, but for personal and family purposes, I bowed out of that and I stayed in different other areas of psychology. We used to call it industrial psychology, and I went into what ended up being sales and marketing in the spirits, the liquor and wine industry, and involved with sales and marketing for some of the more iconic products out there that a lot of people are consuming today. That was a fun part of it. But after 20 or so years, I left that, went into telecommunications for a short bit, and God smiled on me, gave me an opportunity to go back and do my postgraduate work, and without having to have a student loan.
Hmm.
And that's when I got my master's in marriage and family counseling and my PhD in psychology, with an emphasis actually on marriage and family studies. So that's what got me. But my book, which took about 13 years for me to
Mm-hmm.
put this together, because I took information regarding relationships from people who would just come up and share with me their failures in their relationships, failures in their dating, failures in trying to find a partner, failures in their marriage. And also, I went all the way back and started recollecting, just kind of ear hustling at the old water cooler or at the coffee when people
Mm-hmm.
are talking about what a bad date they had and what this person was no good in the relationship. So as I got deeper into my studies and more research, I started extrapolating and including that information to create the book, The Five Pitfalls of a Relationship. The subtitle is the key, though.
Mm-hmm.
What they haven't told you why your love life stinks. Everybody wants to tell you how to have a relationship, but I found that people don't know why they were failing, why the relationship couldn't last, and why it just seems like no matter who they selected in their life, their romantic life, their intimate life, it was always a failure. And that's when I was able to discern five different principles, if you would, I call pitfalls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it got going.
Wow. Interesting. That's awesome. And without wasting time, I really want to dig into those five pitfalls. So what are the five pitfalls we encounter? Because a lot of times we have such blinders on that we don't even know we're making those mistakes. So can you share all of those with us?
Exactly. So let's start with the first one,
Mm-hmm.
vanity.
Hmm.
Vanity is the pitfall that has superficial standards. In other words, people select somebody based on what they look like, what their station in life is, if they're popular or they have a lot of money or they have a good job or the other people that they hang out are really cool and popular. But those are superficial things. That's not the inner part of the person that you'd like to select. And more times than none, those are the relationships that lasts maybe anywhere from, I'll say, from 2 weeks to, if you're lucky, 6 months. And if it goes past 6 months, it's probably miserable because you're getting to find out that that person doesn't really have a good soul to match your soul. The
Interesting.
second one is, I'm almost for pity, is when you fall for someone based on the fact you felt sorry for them, or they felt sorry for you and started doing things that were essentially to appease you, but not necessarily with that inner feeling, that true, genuine emotion with either one of you. The third one is desperation. And desperation is just picking anybody. All your standards, all of your wants from a person that you feel is going to be a good partner, you just take anybody. You've made, and I'm certain your listeners, you and I, have seen friends, and maybe we've even gone through it ourselves actually, and have picked the wrong person to start trying to have an intimate relationship with. The fourth one is entrapment. And that's when you're in a relationship and it's going south. That relationship is starting to stink.
Mm-hmm.
But that other person or ourselves, when that other person is trying to get out of it, they start using things to keep you in it and bring you back. We've seen it in one of my things that I quoted was about Judge Lauren Lake's paternity court. People
Mm-hmm.
would get pregnant just so that that partner wouldn't leave, or they would get that person pregnant so they can stay in their lives and think they could keep that person as their intimate partner. And the fifth one is spite. When all the odds are against, it's not working out. Even people that are close to that other person told you, you seem like a nice person,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not for you. You need to get out. We've seen what they've done with other people. Get out now. That's, in spite of that, you stay. And there you have it.
Hmm. Wow, this is nice summary, well condensed. I think I probably identify with the PD one, like staying with someone just out of PD because you almost feel like pressure and you don't want to be seen or tagged as the bad person, right? Because maybe emotionally or mental maturity wise, you're not on the same plane. But I just felt like I would be judged if I left, if I cut off that relationship or communication just because of that. Because this person was good in so many other areas, but I just felt like emotionally and mentally just wasn't connecting. So that was a pitfall for me. And eventually the relationship broke or ended. Anyway, so I identify with the PD. And when it comes to vanity, I feel like a lot of us fall, into that vanity portion
Yes.
because most
Yes.
ladies want a tall, dark, handsome, and most men want hourglass, beautiful women. So there's just a lot of vanity going on there. Or maybe even if it's not looks, it could be financial stability or maybe career stability and all that. So how can people, overlook all of the flaw because all of those things are flawed? How do we get into the main thing, the meaty thing? How do we as human beings choose the right people for us, in relationship?
Glad you asked, because it comes down to not knowing how. It's to know what and why.
Mm-hmm.
If we know our whys, the hows will come. So, what are you looking for in a person that's going to fit you? Why do you want that type of person? Having a greater understanding about ourselves is probably the most important thing. If you are a person that is not very outgoing, you don't like to do a lot of things, you don't want somebody who's just a popcorn, just jumping all the time. You want
Mm-hmm.
someone that's a little slower in life, maybe like to go on walks or read books or talk about philosophy. Not necessarily that they're partying all the time. Maybe that's the type of person, or vice versa. If you're a person that likes to party, then you like someone who's going to be lively and social and wants to go out with you. But then there's always the opposite. where people that are always gregarious, social, going out and
Mm-hmm.
partying, they want someone to bring another balance.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of asking self, what do you want and why do you want it? I'm not going to fall into the pitfall of saying how to, because there's way too many. The sky is filled with a lot of other people,
Mm-hmm.
celebrities that are telling us how to have that. And then when you look at their life a year or two after their book comes out or their movie, their relationship has fallen apart.
Mm-hmm.
So my hypocrisy is not going to fall into telling people how to do things. I'm going to explain why it hasn't worked. Why your love life stinks.
So, what are the pillars to building a successful, healthy relationship? There are lots of toxic relationships where both people don't even know it's toxic, right? Because that's all they know. Maybe growing up, that was what was modeled to them, right? So, how can one consciously build healthy relationships?
To make certain that they understand what is toxic to them.
Mm.
It's a matter of recognizing it. And how do you recognize it? Is asking yourself, do I do this? It starts with within.
Mm-hmm.
The best fit in Greek mythology and Greek philosophy, essentially we look for someone who fits with us.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a fit, we're always doing like this. We're never on the same plane.
Yeah.
And understanding yourself, ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
gives us the best opportunity to select someone that will complement us.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's good. So, what emphasis would you place on compatibility? I've heard people say a lot of times that what are the two? Is it there's compatibility and there's the other one? Is it chemistry or so? So, in terms of relationship, which is more, which carries more weight? Is it someone you're more compatible with, but probably don't have chemistry with, or someone you have chemistry with but not necessarily because if you share chemistry with someone you can eventually want to like what they like, I guess, and mold yourself into what they want you to be. I don't think that's even healthy, but yeah.
No, you're putting it in a good perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We can have great compatibility on the job with our coworkers. If you're going to school, have great compatibility with our classmates. If we have good compatibility with our family members, because some of us have a whole lot of family, but we're not compatible with everybody.
Yeah.
And chemistry basically is very similar to compatibility. It's just a matter of finding out what ingredients make you compatible. That's the chemistry part of it. And if we as people, as humans who change emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
if we can understand why we feel that way about that person, then the chances are very good that we can start to have a healthy relationship. When it gets toxic, why is it toxic? Is it something they say? Is it the way they look? Is
Mm-hmm.
it the things that they do or the things that they don't do? Those are ingredients that contribute to compatibility and the ingredients we might call chemistry. If they're a person that um, shows up on time for dates,
Mm-hmm.
makes promises and they keep their promise. Those are just a few things that say, okay, this is the kind of person I like.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some that are always late. They don't always do what they say they're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
but they are able to find a person who is tolerant and patient with them and appreciates even those slight little flaws. Oftentimes, it helps improve that other person. Sometimes it makes the other person worse too. I used to be one of those on time people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was dating my wife, she was always the late one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember our very first official date. I waited for her 45 minutes because she was so busy
Oh,
primping
wow.
and getting dressed, and
Mm-hmm.
we missed the dinner that we were supposed to go to before the play that I had picked out for us to go to see. And I ended up, because I acquiesced toward her, I started being a little bit later and later and later in my life. So our compatibility ended up being like together because we're both two late people.
Good people. That's so funny. That's so funny. Wow, that's a nice, clear example. Okay, I see. But I guess for you, lateness wasn't like a real pain point for you. It was something you could get over, you know. But there could
Perfectly
be,
said.
yeah,
That's compatibility when you can feel it's not a big deal. If it
right,
becomes offensive and as we've mentioned toxic, then it's not a good fit. That's not
right.
compatibility.
Mm, mm, mm. Interesting. Okay. I wanted to talk about because I don't know, was it a book or it's a saying people have that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So how are men and women different in relationship? Like how do they I know men are probably more logical, women are more emotional. So how can they thrive in alignment and in unity when they come into relationship, like finding a balance?
Well, you mentioned that book, and that was written by Dr. John Gray, who I happened to serve on some committees with back during the healthy marriage programs in the early 2000s. And you mentioned two things: logistics and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Women who are emotional may also attract men that are logical, but there are also women that are logical and men that are more so emotional. Emotions are a sense of the empathy, the caring for someone, not based on what they look like. Logistics might be what a person does look like, but what they do with their looks. Men that find women attractive based on their ability to have some logical, rational contributions or behavior in their life. Men will get out of the superficial, what they look like as a person on the outside, I should say. It's
Mm-hmm.
the inside. And when a man recognizes that a woman who has a sense, even with her emotional values, there's a sense of logic to it for him. And a woman who recognizes that a man has an emotional side, even when he's rigid in his logistics, she's going to be attracted to him as well. So it ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where when compatibility is successful, is that they find that happy medium so that they get closer and closer. So it forms like this. That's not to say it can last forever, because
Mm-hmm.
I've counseled couples that were married for 30 years and their compatibility fell apart. But
Mm.
we discovered the why after the fact. There was some infidelity that was taking place with it, and some superficial things like one depending upon the other for finances. And as the finances shifted, then their interests started to grow apart.
Mm. Wow. Interesting. That's deep. I think when it comes to marriage, is a whole another ball game. Marriage just is just so different than relationships. So I guess since we're in the area of marriage, so a lot of people have, I mean, social media is split between 50-50. I'm originally from Nigeria, and where I come from in Africa, culturally, men are typically meant to be providers. The women can support, but the man takes the share of the cake. So, in your opinion, on your experience, what do you see like couples that believe in like 50-50, like partnership, that view marriage as a partnership versus couples that view marriage as maybe like where there's some imbalance, like the man is the dominant person, dominant authority, calls the shots, and the woman is subservient. Which of these marriages or relationship dynamics do you think has a higher success rate?
That is the question of the lifetime. Studies have shown that it's not always 80-20, sometimes it's 20-80. 50-50 is ideal, but it's not always realistic. So if there's a sense that one needs to be supportive and dominant, the other one should be supportive and submissive. And when there's true compatibility, it will always flow. It won't just be stuck on one. And those are usually the relationships that last the longest, that they have flexibility.
So sometimes the man is the submissive one and the woman is the dominant one, and sometimes it flips. Interesting.
Correct. Yes. And it should be that way. Women are people too. Women, I'm married. It'll be 53 years in July. I have an awesome wife who was very intelligent, very strong. She's strong and she's strong in what she believes in her faith, as well as in her well-being. She cares for people, and I'm the same way. And she will submit to me, and I will do the same for her. It's not I have to be macho all the time. I enjoy it when she takes the lead for certain things. And when she can't take the lead, she feels confident about coming to me and say, I can't do this. Will you do this for me? And me the same way. I never feel it's going to be a failure because I can't do it, because I have a partner who has resources that can help me get through something.
So because 53 years is a long time. What's the secret? Let me put it that. What's the secret to a long-lasting relationship like this? Because you're still happily married after 53 years. So what's the secret? What are the nuggets you can share with our listeners and audience?
Well, one of the secrets is we still romance each other.
Okay.
So taking the cruise together was just the two of us. We had a great time spending time together. We still go out on dates. We'll plan dates, going to the movies, going out to dinner, doing other things, going to concerts. We noticed that all of the kids that got married around the same time we did, 52, almost 53 years ago, one of the biggest things is they stopped romancing and dating one another. And it's a 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
If a woman wants to be taken out to dinner, hey, I made reservations. We're going out to dinner, or we're going to a movie, or we're going to a concert, or it's just the two of us, not anybody else, just the two of us. We're going to do this. That's been our success. But as I mentioned, a lot of the kids that we grew up with, that their marriage didn't last half as long. The romance ended, especially when they started having problems, financial problems, or logistical problems like spending too much time on the job, and sometimes even family members who didn't particularly like the other person. So there's that compatibility that goes along with it as well. And sometimes the lack of their own faith and belief as well, where that wasn't compatible.
Wow. Awesome. Thanks for sharing those. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. So I think we've heard news and from even people that maybe are closer in real life where like marriages fail because maybe the husband, the partner is kind of insecure, jealous, or just plain out abusive and maybe narcissistic to the wife. And I feel like it's becoming more predominant or more common now than it was many years back. What could be the cause of the rise in all of this? I don't know if it's social media or if it's the media. I don't know what it could be, but do you have any insights into that?
Well, when we get clinical, its environment does play a role.
Mm,
Social media, movies, television series, watching other people in their failure and quitting, as opposed to finding a way to try to make it work. It's easy for people to say, I quit now, than it
hmm
was. There are a lot of people in the 20th century, a lot of families where there was a lot of abuse. But it was the way of that time when specifically the wife was the one that would take a lot more crap than she should have. And as time has progressed, women have decided, I am not going to be abused like my grandmother or my mother or my aunt or the next door neighbor or my
Mm-hmm.
cousin or whomever you may know was a being abused. And as you should not take that. I'm a father of 4 daughters. I would not allow for my daughters to take that kind of abuse. I wouldn't want them to take that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So you're correct. Social media plays a
Social
lot.
media.
Environmental influences will will dictate that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, and I'll say why often these things don't work out or why there's an abuse is because that other partner learned to be abusive and over domineering and dominant and from their own environment, their family, their social realm, their neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
go on and on and on, where outside influences actually will make a person act the way they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And you mentioned like because in the past there wasn't the awareness as well of like what constitutes an abuse, or mental health wasn't like a huge topic. But with that being a huge topic today, a lot of women in such situations are kind of, okay, this is happening. I need to get out. I need to seek help. I need to leave this relationship. So, and you're a psychologist as well. So, what's your advice to couples, either married or married? Is counseling something couples should invest in, whether their relationship is rosy and nice or whether it is downhill? Is it something people should, um, invest in?
And mental health has always been a stigma throughout the world. Not everyone, every, not everyone embraced it to get assistance in terms of mental health, anxiety, anger, depression, all of those things. Those are the three majors that are based on some influence. Sometimes they are physiological. There's something that's going on in one's brain chemistry, body chemistry that can cause some of those things, even though their outward community is not abusive toward them, but
Mm-hmm.
they just seem that. But that's a different side. But it should be, everyone should, even as a clinician myself, I
Mm-hmm.
see someone just to make certain that I'm in a better state of mind mentally.
Mm.
So I don't take on the world. I'm not Atlas. I can't hold up the world. I know my vulnerability. I know my limits. And so everyone else should do the same thing. There's certain occupations that have a tremendous amount of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
School teachers, first responders, construction workers,
Mm-hmm.
even restaurant employees, waiters, wait staff, cooks. Those
Yeah,
folks have a lot of stress having to serve someone.
true.
So mental health needs to be addressed and embraced by everyone. It
Mm-hmm.
used to be very limited, or the stigma was, oh, you're going to see a shrink or you're going to see a counselor. There must be something wrong with you. Life, there's something wrong with everybody in our life. It wouldn't be life without it.
Yep, yep, yep. So, Dr. Mason, you said you also do like ministry and all that. And why I'm asking is I'm a Christian as well. And I know in the church, counseling and mental health is not something well discussed. So therapy isn't what we would normally seek as Christians. I think our first point of call is probably prayer, fasting, studying the word of God and all that. So how can the church maybe be more, more welcoming of counseling, or like just encouraging people to go get help, mentally?
One of the things is that many churches need to embrace qualified clinical practitioners,
Mm-hmm.
not just the prayer counselors, because everyday problems stem far beyond what our faith has. And God wouldn't put surgeons, doctors, dentists, chiropractors,
Sure.
psychologists, psychiatrists,
Mm-hmm.
nurses, nurse practitioners on this earth
Mm-hmm.
if He didn't feel is necessary. But often, sometimes the stigma is that we need just this.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And if some congregations would allow for an expert to come in and explain to the services that are available, they would do far better. Now, I've noticed over the last 20, 30 years, there are a lot of churches that are embracing prostate cancer and prevention, and they're providing clinics that are free. Breast cancer, providing checkups and education on it that is allowed free.
Yeah.
High blood pressure, diabetes. If we look around our congregations often, most people are suffering from that, or they're on the borderline of that. So a lot of churches, and I know the one that I attend in Gardena, California, under Reverend Pastor David Cross, we address the physical part of our being as well. Doing the Daniel fast, Pastor will bring in a medical expert. I'm the mental health person within, financial as well. That's another aspect that churches are so afraid that outside influences are going to take people away that they don't find someone that is also of good faith to bring in to be that expert, that resource.
That's good. I totally identify and agree with what you're saying. We take care of a spirit. I mean, if doctors weren't needed, then why would God allow them? Why would God allow that to be a profession? So yeah, we definitely need to use all of those people. So I back in Nigeria attended a Pentecostal, I guess people will call it maybe an evangelical church back home. Dating is not something, it's not natural. Like when I say it's not natural, it's not the norm, right? So it's usually courtship. So you're courting and then you get married. We don't date. What are your views on dating, especially as Christians? And is it okay to date non-Christians if you're a Christian, or should you just date someone that is a good person and hopefully convert them to God or something?
You know, I would say that becomes a cultural aspect. We do know in parts of Asia, there is no dating, no courting. Your parents put people together, for various reasons. Courtship, dating. Courtship oftentimes means what? You were supervised in the company, and that could still work. I don't have a problem with that, especially for younger people. I mean, kids, adolescents, they probably need to be supervised.
Oh, yes. We need to send matrons to supervise the activities.
But again, that's culturally influenced, and it has a great purpose. There have been some successes for that. Me personally, if you're courting someone and you're dating someone, you should always continue to date them. That's just the philosophy that I have. I still date my wife. I still buy her things that I think that she might like. Sometimes I'll even put them in a gift bag or gift box and give that to her. And she does the same for me. We'll plan a date, or I will say, hey, get ready. We're going to go out and do this. Just like before we got married. I liked spontaneity, me personally. I like doing things that I believe that she's going to like. And my wife does the same for me. So finding someone that you can be compatible with, that will appreciate you as you are. There could be a woman that's 6'2" and she falls madly in love with a man that's 5'2". We don't often see that.
We don't often.
But it does happen.
Yeah.
And that's love all by itself. It must be that they really truly feel for that person.
Yeah. I mean, especially if the man is very super successful. I can think of some Hollywood actors like Tom Cruise. I think it's quite short, but he's dated.
Yes. And his first wife, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
She was taller.
Taller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of his wives or girlfriends have been way taller. So I wanted to ask, what are the red flags people, men or women, should look out for in relationships? And I'm speaking as well from a Christian perspective, because sometimes we feel like, okay, because this person is a Christian, they're Bible believing, they should be good people, and then you just go in and then you realize, oh, wow, this person is really, lots of horrible things or not so nice traits they have. So what are some red flags people dating should look out for and should cut off immediately?
The biggest red flag is not allowing to be flexible. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't believe in that. No, I would not ever do that. That's a red flag.
Hmm.
Everyone says they're going to change someone that's in their life. Nobody changes anybody but the good Lord above.
True.
If they want to be changed, and if you demonstrate a certain change, perhaps they will embrace what you're doing and make that change toward that.
Mm.
That's like parenting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you do things that you want your children to do and you do it correctly and you know they notice what you're doing, they will do it. We as adults, when we're trying to woo someone or trying to make someone, I shouldn't say make, but influence a
Mm-hmm.
partner,
Mm-hmm.
is to do something that is rational, that
Mm-hmm.
they can appreciate. The red flag would be they don't appreciate the good things you do and they don't acknowledge that what you did is good.
Mm. Mm.
Appreciation and acknowledgement.
Mm. Okay. That's good. That's good. That's true. Some people are just hard to please, like high maintenance people. So yeah, that's very stressful too.
Yeah. High maintenance. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. I'm glad I never had to worry about that, but I've worked with a lot of couples that
Mm-hmm.
high maintenance essentially bankrupted somebody because they really couldn't keep up with that person and their sense of high maintenance. And it's not always the woman, it's the guy. He wants to live a lifestyle to show off, and he
Mm-hmm.
really can't afford it. And when it really comes down to it, he's broke. You could lose someone that way, or if they truly appreciate you, the simplicity of oneself, then you have someone who appreciates you.
That's true. That's true. Nice. So, Dr. Mason, is there anything else you want to share with us about your book? Do you want to go deeper into any area? Or I think I like the one about entrapment, because a lot of times it might not even be by having children with a person. It might just be like the one I've heard about, like just buying things for them, gifts for them, just to hold them down. So they're never able to leave you because they feel like, oh, he bought me this diamond ring and I can't leave and all that. So is that how can people escape entrapment?
Now, I will say this, some of these kind of bleed in from one to the other.
Yeah.
It's not just one often, it will be
Mm-hmm.
maybe a composite of all of them. But entrapment is really one that there's some legal aspects to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't leave. We moved in together, and if you leave, the lease is broken
Mm-hmm.
because we're both on the lease, or we have our cell phones together. And
Mm.
if we break up, that means we have to get separate cell phone bills and it's going to be higher.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Now, it's not to say it happens all the time
Yeah.
or it's going to cause a problem. Some people, they just grow apart. And I know of people that have actually lived together and they dated other people.
Like an open relationship or open marriage?
No, the relationship was done. They just became roommates. That's all. They didn't sleep in the same bed any longer.
Hmm.
And if they
Wow.
were going to have a new date over,
Mm-hmm.
an intimate partner over, the other
Mm-hmm.
one was told, hey, I'm having such and such over. That meant the other person either waited a long time before they came home or they went elsewhere. But I
God
personally have
forbid,
worked with those types of couples.
of course. And they are okay. They don't want to get a divorce. They just want to remain married, but not actually married.
Yes, in name only.
In name only. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Filing the tax was a lot
Oh,
cheaper
that's true.
filing, again, There are legalities, logistical legalities that go along with often just staying together
That's true.
until someone makes the decision, hey, I'm moving on with this person, I'm moving in, or they're going to move in, it's time for you to go, or they're waiting for the opportunity that they can actually split so the ramifications aren't as difficult
Mm.
because the leases run out, so now we can split.
So yeah.
And little things like that, believe it or not, they happen
Yeah.
often.
Wow.
You ever watch any of the court shows? Sometimes you'll see things like that all the time.
Wow. Interesting. So you never really know what goes on behind closed doors.
That's the serious truth, and it's called life. Everybody lives their own life. I'm one of those that if we all showed up in a room and we brought our most unwanted problem
Mm-hmm.
and we all put it in a pile on the floor, I guarantee you, when you see everybody else's problems, you're going to go back and pick up your own and keep it.
Oh my God. But it's good to know because sometimes when you're going through hard times, you can feel like you're the only one going through bad times, but really everyone has something they're dealing with, and what you're dealing with might actually not be as bad as others. So yeah, just stick it out and keep going.
And that's what faith is all about. Faith is
True.
the idea of knowing that someday it's going to be better and
Yes, that's
feeling
true.
that spirit of optimism
Mm-hmm.
that God is always going to provide. If something's bad, He's going to make it turn it into good for us.
That's true.
And what hurt us before will make us stronger in the long run.
Mm-hmm. True.
I'm a true believer of that, and I'm a big believer in prayer. I have had open heart surgery, and I have beat prostate cancer, and my optimism and
Mm.
my faith in God have been the biggest keys for me to get through both of those.
Wow.
So I'm extremely healthy, happy. I'm happy to help other people
Mm.
have a happier life. I can't guarantee, but I can certainly, not only as a practitioner, a clinician, but as a servant of the Most High, I know I can contribute something,
Mm-hmm.
and not a lot. They
Mm.
say out of 99, if you can just help one,
On.
the heavens, the heavens will shout just by helping one.
Wow. Congratulations on all of that, and praise God. Praise God. So thankful for that testimony. Thanks for sharing it. Thank God. God is faithful.
Yes,
Wow. Wow. Praise God.
there's only one God,
Only one
and
God.
I'm happy. I'm happy to serve Him.
Yes. Yes. Praise God. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So where can people get your book, and how can they connect with you? If they wanted to reach out to maybe seek advice or coaching, how can they
Yes,
reach you?
yes. So my book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
The 5 pitfalls of a relationship, what they haven't told you, why your love life stinks.
Mm. Yep. Can see it.
And you can also reach me. I have a toll free number, 866 773 4303. That's a toll free number, 866 773 4303. I'm available usually Monday through Saturday, short days on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and that's Pacific Daylight Saving Time. And Saturdays is short, it's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And if I'm not available, just please leave a message. I will get back to you ASAP. I'm also reachable via email at Dr. L. Mason, PhD. That I'm open to organizations, churches. I do lectures at colleges, universities, job where there's uh, they the company wants to address certain things that my expertise are in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
open to that, and we can discuss honorariums and things of that nature. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
happy to work with churches. I love doing these podcasts. I didn't have to travel. I would love to be up in Oregon with you,
Yes,
a beautiful part of the world.
it's beautiful.
My first name was based on a city in Oregon, LaGrande, Oregon.
Yeah,
Same
that's
spelling.
true.
Yeah,
Same spelling. That's true. Like
yeah.
grand.
That's what my grandmother named my dad. So
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Was there any member of your family in Oregon, or was that just the name she liked?
Funny, they were in show business.
Okay.
This is before vaudeville, it was minstrels. And so it could have been that she traveled to Oregon. They traveled doing a show and liked the name and it stuck.
Okay, nice. I love it. I love it. Nice, nice. I'm going to get all your details and I'll put them in the show notes of the podcast and the YouTube video description as well. So, yeah, I'll have all of that listed out so people can reach you. So, I think we're rounding off now. Dr. Mason, do you have any last words for our listeners?
I want to say this, that you are a phenomenal host
Well,
and
thank
I
you.
love your show. I love the content and your approach. Continue your good work and what you do because people like myself, we exist because of people like yourself.
Oh,
And I
thank
want to
you.
say to everyone listening, make certain that you are well within yourself.
Hmm.
You can't help anyone else unless you are well and good with you.
Well said. Well said. Wow. Thank you so much for such an insightful, awesome, wonderful episode. Really appreciate it and learned a lot from our discussion. And I'm sure our audience also would learn a lot. Please connect with Dr. Mason's work. Go to his website, contact him on the toll-free number. I mean, this is a man of God. He's not only going to help you emotionally, psychologically, but also spiritually. So please connect with his work. Buy the book, Five Pitfalls in a Relationship on Amazon, Amazon Novel. Yes, yes, yes. Please purchase and read and all that. Thank you so much once again for watching. Please like, comment, leave us a review, like, and keep coming back for more wonderful episodes. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye bye.